Let go of me.
I'm not gonna let you go. I'm gonna set you free.
There hasn't been a movie quite like Beyond the Black Rainbow, and it's hard to imagine that there ever will be. Welcome to Both Anger Reviews. For this week's video, I want to share my interpretation and appreciation of one of the most unique films of all time, Beyond the Black Rainbow. I will first begin by briefly summarizing what takes place in the primary story, and then as the video continues, I will unpack what seems to be a vast, inherently esoteric interpretation of this often misunderstood gem. Spoilers ahead for 2010's Beyond the Black Rainbow, and let's begin. Beyond the Black Rainbow is a cosmic surreal, psychedelic sci-fi horror film set in an alternate universe in 1983.
Here at the Institute, we are in the forefront worldwide in neuropsychology and new therapeutic technologies.
The story revolves around the remnants of the Arborea Institute, which is a mysterious research facility run by the disturbed Dr. Barry Nile, who oversees experiments in psychotherapy and human consciousness. The Institute's most notable subject is Elena, a young woman with powerful psychic abilities, kept in isolation and subjected to Nile's disturbing treatments. The film's slow-burning tension builds as Elena begins to resist her captivity and grows powerful enough to escape. Dr. Nile, a once devoted follower of the Institute's founder, Dr. Mercurio Arborea, has become increasingly unhinged, using Elena as a conduit for his own twisted exploration of transcendence and control. Flashbacks reveal that Arborea's experiments with a mysterious black pool led to Nile's psychological and physical transformation, leaving him in a state of fractured reality. As Elena's powers grow, she starts to break free from her confines, navigating the Institute's eerie, labyrinth halls while Nile descends further into madness, determined to stop her escape at any cost. The film culminates in a nightmarish, visually stunning climax as Elena finally escapes the Institute, emerging into the outside world, which is a stark, surreal landscape uncommon to her, but natural to the average person. Nile, now succumbing to his own natural state, pursues her, but Elena's abilities ultimately overpower him, leading to his grotesque demise. Elena telepathically crumbles Nile and seemingly walks the earth as a free, telepathically transcended human. It's a relatively simple story of an entrapped telepathic individual who eventually finds their own strength, power, courage, and escapes. This, however, is not why the movie is a masterpiece. This is just the surface, and I will now begin to unpack what's hidden underneath the story. What makes this movie a masterpiece is just how open for interpretation the subject matter is, and the many mind-bending conclusions that can be said about reality, consciousness, and the perceived subjective nature of human experience. Let's first start with the way in which we perceive the movie. It's a slow burn, dreamlike psychedelic trip. The long scenes, the incredible soundtrack, the dialogue, and the way in which certain scenes are shot really conditions the audience in the experience of receiving the message. The many shots pertaining to the human eye, symbolically or literally I feel, is a subtle nod to the theme of perception in all layers of the story, which does extend to us as the viewer of the movie as well. There's a reason why we never see Nile in two images, or reflections, just one as opposed to many of Elena's scenes, where there are two. Recognize the difference between Nile and Elena's characters and trajectory as it plays a key role in the deeper meanings of the story. When we see Elena break free from the facility and experience the outside world, it's illuminated, light-like, and she is connected to all things. When we see Nile outside the facility and pursuing Elena, it's dark, disconnected, and void, absent of this universal connection. The differences of perception are linked to the differences of the experience through what we will call the death pool experiment. This leads me to the next layer of the story. Arborea Institutes utilizes drugs and psychedelic devices in the hopes of bringing human consciousness to an ascended level of being. Nile undergoes the death pool experiments and touches the void of infinity. His response when he comes to is horrific. Nile is completely nihilistic, and in his mental state, he kills Elena's mother. It's after this that Dr. Arborea sends Elena into the death pool.
Your mother's reabsorbed absorption into the cycle of life won't be for nothing, my darling Elena. You will be the dawning of a new era for the human race and the human soul. Let the new age of enlightenment begin.
When she arises, she is transcended and can use telepathic powers to receive and emit forces, as opposed to Niall's limited ability to only receive. In this cosmic reflection, I personally feel like after witnessing what happened with Niall in the death pool, Dr. Arboria realized that it is harder for the human mind to receive the entirety of what the pool offers, that they have already been nurtured into adulthood. Essentially, because Niall had already become molded as a person, with life history and a developed ego, it made shattering the psyche for a reset to receive the cosmic forces in the universe devastating. And this is why he had the reaction that he did. Whereas if we looked at Elena, a baby, untouched by life, unformed and no ego adapted, the message is received in its fullest picture. Which brings me back to why I felt the imagery of Niall solely being of one and not two images was important. Niall only received half the picture. In his eyes there was a black rainbow, an all-encompassing void to existence. Baby Elena received not only half the message, that yes, there is a void, but also there is fullness. In our universe, the transcendental realization for most religions in the Indic sphere and other philosophical circles is that of recognizing the inevitable link of nothingness and somethingness, the dialectical link of light and shadow. This interpretation is supported as well by the way the characters see the outside world in the later stages of the movie. Elena is touching nature and feeling light and supreme connection, whereas Niall is tunnel-visioned in the void of nothingness, lost in the shadow. Which for this interpretation adds a completely different level of relevancy to the last words Niall says to Elena.
Come to me. Come to me. Come to me!
I imagine when I watch this that the shadow is begging for the light, or even a person completely engulfed in the void would be pleading for substance to come to them. Another interesting note on the topic of receiving and perception, as we the audience witness the biker drunkards at the end of the movie, their music just seems dim and out of tune, because throughout the entire movie we've had heavy existential synth sounds and electronic trance music. Hearing the metal come out of the speaker box really emphasizes the difference in perceived reality. It sounds empty and shallow because in comparison to what us as the audience have been witnessing, this deep, full story of cosmic comprehension, the bikers are just the average human, partying likely on a Friday night, and it sounds hollow. Which then brings me to another layer of Beyond the Black Rainbow, its statement on existence. It's a cautionary tale of nihilism through the eyes of Niall. It's a story gesturing to the audience of the potential for a fuller experience when witnessing existence through the pure headspace of a child, like Elena. This absolutely meta style gifts us the viewer with a story about being open-minded and willing to receive all interpretations that come. That is what truly makes this movie special. We think of death's grip as a prison, so we ask for release when it's consuming us, when it's really setting us free through the process. Thank you for watching. Due to the nature of this movie, I would love to know how you all interpreted this one. How did you receive the message? Like and leave a comment subscribing is always appreciated, and I'll see you next week.